that just don't make music like they used to anymore, man. I'm T Street Controversy. This is T Street Controversy Live, June the 25th, 2016. RIBF heavyweight champion, prodigy of the world, Anthony A.J. Joshua, 16-0 with 16 KOs, 16 have tried, 16 have failed, is going to be taking on Dominic Breazeale, an Al Heyman fighter, been a pro since what, 2012, 17-0 with 15 KOs. But, you know, okay, let me start with Anthony Joshua first. I can understand that he's young. What is he, about 26 years old or something like that? And there's still room to improve. He's a very humble fighter, especially when you listen to his interviews and when you listen to his post-fight interviews. He's really a humble fighter. He says to himself, you know, or to us, that he understands that he needs rounds and there's still things that he needs to work on. And that's what I want to see from him too. Before I start saying he can beat the likes of a David Haye and all those type of guys, you know, and a Tyson Fury and a Vladimir Klitschko, I personally want to see him go to decision. Go to a decision. I want to see him go to distance. It's not his fault that he's knocking these guys out. It's not his fault. But as a boxing fan, I want to see how he looks in the 8th, 9th, 10th, 11th, and 12th rounds. You know, 6'6", 250 pounds, just under 250 pounds or so. If you notice, he's been putting on, you know, weight, you know, over his last several fights. I want to see how he moves. I want to see how his fans and his hardcore supporters, I want to see how he knows how to pace himself. Like they say, oh yeah, I know come on, it's Anthony Joshua. He knows to pace himself in the 10th, 11th, and 12th. And remember all that hype? Let me turn this off. And I wasn't a big David Price fan, but me as a boxing fan, I cover boxing and watch boxing all throughout the world. So I remember the big David Price hype train. You know, when fucking Tony Thompson had him just gassed out, just in the corner, just break. Listen, that's all I want to see is him go to distance. Now, will Dominic Breazeale take him the distance? I don't think so. Dominic Breazeale has some good qualities as far as he can move. And I'm going to do a different video on The Gloves Are Off, which is the UK Sky Sports version of HBO Face Off of Max Kellerman. I'm going to do a different video on that. He's very confident. He does have the height and he does have the reach, but I don't know how he would stand up to one of those Anthony Joshua right hands. I just don't know. I don't think that he can. I don't think that he can. Anthony Joshua has the whole world in front of him. It's because there's so many big super fights that can be made. Now, as it stands right now, he's on a collision course to fight Joseph Parker, who's his mandatory fighter from New Zealand. Very good fighter. Didn't look as good as I would have liked him to look against Carlos Takam, but overall a threat. And then Deontay Wilder, because he signed now to an American network in Showtime. So Anthony Joshua is on his way to being a global superstar. Now over in the UK, he's already a superstar. You know, he's a messiah over there. But over here in the United States, he's going to start getting more known with Showtime and the exposure that he's getting. But with fights on the horizon like Joseph Parker, okay, put it this way. I look at it like this. Who is he going to fight after Dominic Breazeale? His next IBF mandatories, he's got 2 mandatories. It's going to be Joseph Parker and then Kubrat Pulev. But then in between that, his Showtime alliance is somewhat a guarantee of him fighting Deontay Wilder if Deontay Wilder is still the champion. And then after that, he can go after the guys like of Tyson Fury. If Tyson Fury beats Vladimir Klitschko, that's a crazy, super crazy, huge fight. And then, you know, you got you got a fight with David Haye out there. The heavyweight division is on fire. But like I said, I just don't know. You know, I just don't want to put, you know, my full faith in Anthony Joshua just yet, because I've seen this happen as a boxing fan. You know, especially when fighters get late in the fights. He had that one scare against Dylan Parker, but it just makes you think, you know, how does he recover late in the fights? We see that he's always in the gym lifting all these weights and everything, but you know, I'm sure he's doing it. I know he is, but you don't never see him, you know, out there doing some cardio, you know, jogging at night, you know, with the camera following him and all that. It's like, you know, I'm just saying, it's going by what I see. Just going by what I see. Anthony Joshua's good, but I want to see how he does going the distance. For example, I would have loved to see him fight a guy like Malik Scott. Malik Scott would have gave him angles. You know, as Anthony Joshua said, Malik Scott has the ability, you know, to show levels. But even though Malik Scott, as I said in the past, he somewhat reminds me of like the Andrew Bynum of boxing. He's just so good. You know, Andrew Bynum was just so good, and he could have been the best center in the NBA for years. But he wanted to do other shit outside of NBA, you know, so he never really focused on his game. He was always good, but his game came second. You know, that's Malik Scott. He said himself, you know, he want to sell cigars and sleep with beautiful women. Hey, bro, that's cool. You know, I can't, you know, but it's just, what I feel is Malik Scott would have been able to take him to the distance, in my opinion. But there's other fights out there for him. People are talking like a Dylan White rematch. For what? You know, Dylan White's got, listen, this is a world champion now. You know, Dylan White's got to get his game up. You know, he's got to start fighting some credible competition. Derek Chisora would be the perfect fight for Dylan White at this point in time. And it's crazy because if Derek Chisora wants it, I think Chisora is shot. I don't think that Chisora can beat Dylan White. But it would be a good fight for both of them at this point in time, you know, in their careers. Because if Chisora wins, he's beating an up-and-coming heavyweight. And if Dylan White wins, he's beating, like, a journeyman guy to say, okay, yeah, I beat Derek Chisora. You know, and I beat him before the guys like Vitali and David Haye, you know, fought him. You know, so. T-Street Controversy. This is T-Street Controversy Live. Of course, I'm going to be covering Joshua versus Breazeale. And I'm going to be covering Eubank Jr. versus Doran, whatever the fuck his name is. I'm going to be covering Groves versus Murray. The Luke Campbell fight is not on that card. I'm sure he's probably... Ain't Nigel Ben on that card or some shit? Connor Ben? His son. Hey, he's on the card. But you know how Eddie Hearn work. But anyway, I'm T-Street Controversy. This is T-Street Controversy Live. In America, in the United States, the Joshua Breazeale fight is going to be coming on at about 5:30 or so Eastern Standard Time on Showtime Extreme, if I'm correct. But it might be on Showtime, but normally those Showtime International fights come on Showtime Extreme, like around 5 p.m. to 5:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I'm T-Street Controversy. This is T-Street Controversy Live. Follow me on Twitter. Follow me on Facebook. All the links to my social media are right down below in the description box. I'm T-Street Controversy. This is T-Street Controversy Live. Please subscribe.